almost 3 years in office, inflation is up over 17% since President Biden came here. And you're saying that's still Trump's fault?
Inflation is moderating because of the actions that this president has taken.
Doesn't that just mean that prices are going up slower? They're still high.
It's going down. The prices are going down. If you look at for a perfect example, I mean, I just talked about last week how turkey prices, the cost for turkeys is going down, the cost for eggs is going down because of the actions that were taken. I just talked about supply chain and how that affects the economy, and that's because of the president's action that he's taken. And if you think about gas prices, it's down by $1.70 since its peak because of the actions that this president has taken. So we understand that people are still not feeling it. We get that.
Meanwhile,
do you think that President Biden is doing a good job with the economy?
No, he's not doing nothing to support nobody.
Is he doing a good job? Yes or no?
No. I can see we're all going to be in the streets homeless.
Biden and his press secretary said that prices are going down. Is that your experience or is that not true?
No, that is definitely not true. Prices are definitely going up. I used to go across the street to Fordham to go get me a meal. I can't even get me a meal because that meant $20.
Minority communities, we're not seeing the improvement. There's inflation with everything: food, gas, insurance prices. I mean, you name it.
Bidenomics is not working. It's just a complete mess. It's a disaster. Especially here in New York City, we're feeling it very hard.
If you could say anything to Biden right now, who says that the economy is improving, especially in black and brown communities, what would you say to him?
That's lies. I believe that's lies. Heavy lies on that, for sure.
Do you think that somebody else besides Biden should be president?
Yes,
next time?
Of course. Bring back Trump.
Tell me why.
We had money. We had money when Trump was president.
Free my son Trump. Free my son Trump. Trump 2024, everybody.
All right, guys. So shout out to Liberal Hotline for that clip. Okay, that clip from Newsmax in which you had so-called minorities or so-called people of color in AOC's district of the Bronx, a district that, as he pointed out correctly, she never visits except maybe like once or twice a year just to get yelled at by her constituents, but they still vote for her anyways. These people basically are saying, look, we're not buying into the psyop from the Democrats who routinely deny the reality that Americans are experiencing, especially when it comes to the economy, okay, and Bidenomics, which has been an epic disaster. No matter how much the affirmative action press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre, denies reality, the reality is that on the ground, regular, average, normal, everyday people are feeling the brunt of his economic policies. Again, this is in direct opposition to what they continue to tell the mainstream liberal media, which is that, hey, prices are going down, okay? Inflation has come down, therefore prices have come down, which, again, is just objectively not true. And this is what they do. They try to play off of what they believe to be ignorance, okay? Just because inflation has waned a little bit, allegedly, according to government numbers. Now, I'm not sure if that's according to what people are feeling in their wallets, but inflation is still rising. Prices are not going down, okay? If prices were going down, then we would be experiencing deflation. We're not experiencing deflation. We're still experiencing inflation. Prices are still rising, although slower than before, but they are still rising. And when prices have risen upwards of 17, 18, 19, 20%, which I think is on the low end, okay, in just a few years, yeah, people are going to say that, look, this economy is terrible, especially when real wages have not kept up with inflation. Objectively, people are poor, okay? People, on average, families are paying $700 to $900 more per month just to survive, okay? You cannot psyop your way out of what normal, everyday Americans are feeling. But see, the Democrat Party is the party of elites. They don't care about normal, everyday Americans. What they actually really care about is the rich and their rich donors, right? Business and corporate interests, which is why they love open borders, right? And that's what this video is about, which is the migrant crisis that not only is affecting New York City, but also affecting Chicago, okay? And as you can see, New Yorkers are turned off by the economy. A lot of them are probably turned off by the immigration crisis as well, too. But Chicagoans have a special beef with Democrats in the Biden administration when it comes to the border and the border crisis. So much so that they have now declared that they are done with Democrats. They're done with Democrats and they want Trump, even going as far as to scream Trump 2024, right? They want Trump. And I want to show you guys this video because, again, this is a very special thing that has happened in this country right now. And I really believe that if this momentum keeps up, you're going to see Trump win in a landslide for multiple reasons. So without further ado, I want to go ahead and get into the clip. But before we get into it, we have to have a word from the sponsor of this video, BioTrust. When it comes to anti-aging, we are all looking for that miracle pill. Generally, you need to try multiple products that target different areas of the skin to fully combat the appearance of aging. Some supplements may attempt to reduce wrinkles, while others may bring back firmness to sagging skin. Believe it or not, I have found a solution that removes the need for juggling with multiple anti-aging products. It's a special type of collagen and it's better at maintaining skin elasticity, reducing visible signs of aging, and promoting a youthful complexion than most anti-aging products I've seen typically found on store shelves. Tens of thousands of 5-star reviews back up the notion that this collagen is not only a modern day fountain of youth, but that it also removes the need for us to use countless serums and anti-aging supplements. Most importantly, you can save 53% for this month only. Plus, for a limited time, you'll receive free gifts such as free shipping, a 60-day satisfaction guarantee, free VIP live fitness and health coaching for life, and a free ebook titled The 14 Foods for Amazing Skin, all at no extra cost to you. Go to healthwithpatriot.com, that's healthwithpatriot.com, or click the link in the description down below before this once-in-a-lifetime deal sells out.
There have been calls by city officials to close the Inn of Chicago shelter site after reports of criminal behavior, including drug sales and prostitution. Passione Zayas says it's not shutting down.
We are in a lease. That's the other thing.
This chart shows the number of migrant children now enrolled within the Chicago public schools. 30% of migrants here in Chicago are children. The migrant crisis is straining resources. The state is footing the bill for what they call temporary housing. The state is paying on the high end $9,000 in rental assistance over a 6-month period of time. With that comes help moving in and a starter kit to furnish the apartment.
Later. Mothers and fathers of today, these are our children and they will not be targeted while you take and make a better life for a new group that just walked into this country yesterday. These are grandchildren. $9,000 a month for these people. You know how hard it is? $1,000 to $1,500 for every child, every illegal immigrant child that goes into Chicago public schools. You give them money for uniforms and computers and all these things. We're not going to stand down, and we ask that the Republican Party come and sit down and have a meet with us. Come have a meet with us. We all are against mass immigration. Let's have a meeting. Let's have a meet with the Republican Party. If Trump want to come to town, come and meet with us.
Trump 2024.
Come have a meet with us, Trump.
Trump 2024.
We are not going to stand idly by while you starve our community.
And like I tried to remind people, not only did I support Brandon Johnson, not only did I campaign for Brandon Johnson, not only did I give him my money, but I want you to know 2 things. Number 1, I'm not a fan. I have buyer's remorse. Number 2, for any independent candidate in the city of Chicago, any Green Party candidate in the city of Chicago, and any Republican candidate in the city of Chicago, now is your time, because we are done with the Democratic Party. Brandon Johnson, Governor Pritzker, and President Biden have showed us what they think about the black community all over this country. And so we're standing here today to say, okay, if that's what it is, we with it. We don't have to support the Democratic Party. Right. We don't have to continue to support people who are not going to support us. And the Democratic Party here in this city, in this state, and in this country is not supporting us. You got the Republicans on one side and the Democrats on the other side. Guess what? They're part of the same bird.
That's right.
So it doesn't matter anymore which party we go with. But I tell you this, I'd rather deal with the snake that's outfitting himself of the Republican Party than the snake that's covered up in the Democratic Party.
That's right.
We're not going to continue to stand for this. We're not going to continue to allow our state representatives, our congressmen, our aldermen, and our mayor to let us know that we don't matter.
Yes.
Just like you're going to show us that we're going to matter, we're going to show you. It's going to be a great day in the city of Chicago when the Democratic convention comes here, and then they found out in March that a lot of black voters took Republican ballots. Deal with that.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. Okay, there's a lot of truth to what she said there. Okay, especially when it comes to Republicans and Democrats basically being two wings on the same bird. Because I do believe that Democrats are sneaky, right? They try to pretend like they're trying to help you, but they're really not trying to help you. They're really hurting you. And that's exactly what the immigration crisis is for a lot of these black Chicago residents. When Brandon Johnson and Democrats try to pretend like, hey, you guys are all people of color, right? And since we're all people of color, we have to stand up against the white man Republicans, right? The white conservatives that want to close the border, okay? And because you're against the white conservative, we're all against the white conservative. Therefore, you're supposed to get on board with whatever we want, okay? Even if the policy is not good for your community, which again is the sanctuary city policies that a lot of these Democrat cities have. Now, here's the great thing about Trump, right? I think the great thing about Trump is despite the fact that the mainstream liberal media smears him as a racist, Trump clearly and obviously is not racist, okay? He is somebody that has broad appeal, okay? Even with so-called voters of color, because Trump knows how to talk about policy that benefits everybody, but at the same time, he can frame it in a way to say, look, you're benefiting from my policies because of X, Y, and Z as a so-called person of color, even though my policies benefit everybody. And they're inviting Trump to Chicago because of that reason. The reason why they're naming Trump, they want Trump. They're not naming any other Republican. They're not naming DeSantis or Nikki Haley or, Chris Christie or anybody else. Is because, again, Trump has that appeal. He knows how to reach a broad voter base. And this, I think, is what separates Trump from most Republicans, why I think Trump is the most electable Republican, despite popular belief in the establishment Republican circles. And Trump has actually caught some heat lately from his accepting of an endorsement from a former BLM leader, okay, in which he came out and said because of the conditions that Biden has put the economy in, and the fact that Biden has not fulfilled any of his promises, and he understands that under Trump, at least Trump had a great economy, things were much better for black people, he is endorsing Trump. And Trump says, hey, I accept his endorsement. And Trump has been bragging about that endorsement, and Trump has been catching some heat for bragging about that endorsement. And I want to respond to it because, again, I think that there's some people that really don't understand how politics actually works and what it takes to win, which means you can't alienate people. Take a look.
It's January 15th, Martin Luther King's birthday. Speaking of that, did you see where a very respected representative of Black Lives Matter, New England territory, right? New England, endorsed Trump, he said. He didn't necessarily say the Republican Party, he said Trump, because what we've done in terms of opportunity zones and jobs for everybody, frankly, but jobs historically, if you look at the colleges, the black colleges and universities, I got them 10-year funding. They never had that. They'd have to come to Washington every year. We took care of their funding and a lot of other things.
Okay, so that's basically the story, that Trump is thanking BLM, but BLM didn't really endorse him or support him. And in fact, Newsweek reached out to BLM Rhode Island and asked about this, and they said that Mark Fisher is no longer affiliated with them, that he's been terminated. So the BLM group is saying we have not endorsed Trump, and that has been the defense by Trump fans of this statement by Trump. They're saying, well, BLM doesn't actually support Trump, so this is a non-issue. Okay, except that Trump is claiming that BLM does. He's thanking BLM for their support. which whether they gave their support or not, that's not the point. The point is that he's thanking them, which legitimizes them. There's just no circumstance, there's no situation where it could ever be okay to thank BLM for anything. It's like thanking Planned Parenthood or NAMBLA. Okay, that's what it's like. And obviously it goes without saying that if Ron DeSantis ever thanked BLM for anything, Trump fans would never stop talking about it. I mean, they would never, ever, ever let DeSantis live that down. Nor should they. Because it's insane. It's an insane thing to do. You do not legitimize Marxist terrorist organizations like BLM. And if you're an honest person and a Republican thanks BLM, you'll start to ask yourself questions about what this person really stands for.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. Now, again, to be fair, you have a lot of people from Team DeSantis, and Matt Walsh is clearly and obviously Team DeSantis, and I respect Matt Walsh's opinion on cultural issues. I do think on political issues, he leaves a lot to be desired, and topics like this is one of the reasons why I believe that is because these people couldn't win an election if it was handed to them. I honestly really believe that without Trump, the Republican Party would literally be a local party. I actually believe that Trump has to win in 2024 or it's over for Republicans. Unless they have somebody else step up that can actually get broad appeal, right? They're going to be done, right? They're going to be a local level party. And part of the reason why is because it seems like Republicans love to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory, okay? Because this is the tweet here that Matt Walsh is referring to, in which Trump says, spoke with Mark Fisher yesterday, a great guy, very honored to have his and BLM support. I have done more for black people than any other President Lincoln, including 10-year funding for historically black colleges and universities where they had none, opportunity zones, criminal justice reform, and much more. Thank you to Mark. Okay, so Trump obviously thinks that Mark Fisher, who, again, has been marketing himself as the leader of BLM, and I'm assuming Trump talked to him, and Trump thought that, I guess, Mark Fisher and BLM were supporting him because of his economic policies, because of how bad things are under Joe Biden, and they've awakened and realized, oh, wait, Trump, things were much better, right? And Trump is accepting this endorsement. The same reason why Trump went and visited the union workers instead of going to the Republican debate is because Trump is trying to build a broad coalition of voters to vote for him because he realizes that there are opportunities to get people who historically don't vote Republican to actually vote Republican, okay? The Republican Party under Trump has attracted more so-called people of color than any other Republican since, the Civil Rights era? And the reason why is because of Trump's ability to have broad appeal. Now, let me explain to you guys why I think it's silly for people like Matt Walsh to criticize Trump for accepting Mark Fisher's endorsement. Okay, clearly and obviously, Trump did not understand that Mark Fisher is a former leader of BLM, in which who knows how Mark Fisher presented himself in the phone call. He might have told Trump that, hey, I'm still the leader or whatever, and he might still think that he's leader. Okay, so Trump probably didn't know that it was just Mark Fisher and not necessarily all of BLM, right? But if your political enemy, right, if they have an awakening and they say, look, I accept the fact that my old ways were wrong, okay, and now I've waken up and I realized that your policies are better, that you had a better economy, that I'm struggling under the past guy. What you don't do is that you don't just say, well, F you, screw you, you're Marxist, socialist, I hate you, I'm gonna reject your endorsement. What you do is you say, hey, look, I'll take your vote, right? I'll take your vote because ultimately, at the end of the day, you need those people to win, right? You can't win if those people are actively voting against you, okay? Which historically, that's what black people do. They vote for Democrats and they vote against Republicans. You're not going to win that way, right? So it's not like Trump is out here endorsing BLM and saying, hey, I support BLM, right? And it's not like BLM came out here and endorsed Trump as an organization because they believe that Trump is a Marxist, socialist, communist radical and, yada, yada, yada. No, it was one guy, Okay. And I believe that Trump probably mistakenly thought that, I guess, he was the current leader of BLM and that maybe the whole organization had a change of heart and decided to endorse him. There's a difference, right? Let's say, for example, if Planned Parenthood comes out and says, you know what, we're done with abortion, we're now pro-life, and we're going to endorse DeSantis, are you going to reject Planned Parenthood's endorsement when they're saying, I'm endorsing you now because I've had a change of heart? Right? Again, that's essentially what's happening here with Trump and this endorsement from Mark Fisher. Mark Fisher's not endorsing Trump because he thinks Trump is some radical left progressive. Mark Fisher is endorsing Trump because Mark Fisher had a change of heart, not because Trump supports BLM, right? There's a difference between Trump coming out and saying, I support BLM versus Trump saying, hey, this guy had a change of heart. He realizes that my policies were great. Biden's policies are bad. Hey, I accept his endorsement, okay? There's a difference. You don't reject somebody who has a change of heart, right? And people get mad because Trump is trying to get people who historically don't vote for Republicans to vote Republican, right? And again, this is why you see when you have so-called minorities get interviewed about what's going on with Biden, and a lot of them being like, well, who do you want to be president? They don't say DeSantis. They don't say Mitt Romney. They don't say any of these Republican guys that have been in this party for so long who have done nothing to expand the base. They've actually shrunk the base, right? They say Trump, right? Why do they say Trump? Because Trump knows how to appeal to a broad base of people, okay? Now, again, is Trump doing a little bit of pandering? Sure. But what Trump is saying is that my policies were good for everybody. But this is why my policies were good for the black community in particular. Okay. And that's the way you have to frame these issues. I would not be upset if somebody that was a member of BLM says, hey, I had a change of heart, I'm going to endorse DeSantis. I'm not going to say, oh, well, DeSantis got an endorsement from somebody that was in BLM. Right? Like, that's like, I mean, it's like, bro, are you trying to, isn't the point of politics to change people's hearts, right? Isn't the point to get people to agree with your policies, right? If you're changing people's hearts, why would you reject that? See, again, this is what I'm talking about. These guys don't know how to win, right? I'm so serious. Okay, this is why in all the general election polls, DeSantis is trailing Biden, okay? He's not doing as well against Biden as Trump because, again, I like DeSantis, but DeSantis has not done a good job of essentially trying to push back against these smears that the Democrat Party has put against him in regards to him being a bigot. And I'm just keeping it 100 with you. I'm just telling you guys what I hear from the average person who is a so-called person of color. When you talk about DeSantis, people actually think he's racist, okay? Now, when it comes to Trump, again, it's just funny because for all the smears of racist, you do have some people who have successfully listened to Trump themselves and said, hey, you know, I don't think Trump's racist, right? There's a lot more people who are like that, who are like, you know, I really don't think Trump's racist. But that DeSantis guy, though, right? I got questions about him. And again, I'm not saying it's fair to DeSantis that is like that. I think part of the reason is because he hasn't done a good job of actually kind of, you know, defending himself. But people got to understand you cannot be mad when somebody who's your political enemy has a change of heart and says, well, I'm going to endorse the other side. That is the whole point. That's what you're trying to do. Are you trying to win people over or not? It's almost as if, you know, there are people that are in the conservative movement that I don't think they have any real interest in winning, right? Because I'm going to keep it 100 with you guys, right? As a so-called conservative influencer, the financial incentive actually is to lose, because the more that we lose, right, the more you can just rail against Democrats and you never have to play defense, right? If you win, then you got to play defense. And if things go bad, then, you know, people kind of tune you out. Everybody's kind of deflated. And it's much harder, okay? It's much easier when the enemies are in power because you can just rail against them all day, right? And people get fired up over that, right? For example, look at what's going on with Biden. Progressive influencers are struggling because they can't sell a shit sandwich to normal people, okay? They can't. So again, their viewership has declined significantly. Just look at a channel like TYT. Look at the mainstream liberal media, okay? When Trump was in office, they were in their heyday, okay? It was great. Their viewership was at record highs. But now that Biden's in office and Biden's doing bad, they're getting smoked by Fox News. Well, why is that? Because it's much easier as a so-called influencer and in the media when the people you disagree with are in power. It's much easier to just rail against them all day and never having to play defense, right? But me personally, I'm trying to win, right? I want Trump to be back in office because I want a better economy. So I'm not going to sit up here and be mad and upset that Trump is accepting an endorsement from somebody that had a change of heart. Again, that is the point of politics. You're trying to change people's hearts. You're trying to get people to agree with you, okay? So again, this is what I'm talking about. When you hear people speak and they talk about, Biden or whatever, they say, well, I want Trump back. They don't say any of these other Republicans. And I really do believe that because of how some of these people just have a tendency to alienate the broader public, without Trump, the Republican Party would be dead, right? I'm so serious. They wouldn't be able to win anything. They would have no chance. Trump is actually what's keeping the Republican Party alive, and that's the honest to God truth. And again, the reason why is because Trump knows how to thread the needle between understanding how to appeal to the base of the party while also at the same time not trying to alienate the rest of society. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of alienation towards Trump because of the propaganda from the mainstream liberal media. But what you're saying is that people who are now being able to see through the propaganda of the mainstream liberal media, they're realizing that, well, Trump wasn't that bad. All this stuff that they said about Trump was a lie. I mean, look at how many people have come out that are liberals that have now said, I might vote Trump. Are we supposed to say, nah, screw Michael Rappaport, right? Screw him. He's a far leftist. Why would I accept his vote? Of course you don't say that, right? You take the vote and you say, well, thank you for your endorsement. I'm glad you agree with me, right? And that's how you win, right? Trump seems to be the only Republican that really knows how to win. And the rest of these guys, again, they're just so focused on being in their own bubble. And they just seem to be happy alienating people rather than trying to bring people into the party. And this is why I really do believe that if Trump loses in 2024, the Republican Party are going to lose a lot of voters, right? This party is going to collapse because you have people who really don't want to bring other people into the party. And that's the problem, right? That's a huge, huge, huge issue. So, hey, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.